This is the ExtraTime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast. You're most likely listening to this the day after St. Patrick's Day, and it is very much St. Patrick's Day here in Tallaght Stadium. It is the Saints supporters off to my right in the East Stand who are celebrating a draw, but it's a big result for them because they'd lost 3 on the run into this one, and taking a point out of Tallaght Stadium, that's not bad, even though they were up against a Rovers team who 6 games in have yet to win this season. It started off very well for Shamrock Rovers, and Richie Towell got a really good goal, a really well taken strike. The equaliser came when Owen Doyle put away a penalty. It definitely was a penalty in my view. Jack Byrne stepped up with a wonder strike from outside the box to put the hoops 2-1 up, but Jake Mulroney came off the bench and with about 2 or 3 minutes to go put one low past Alan Manus, who could do nothing to stop it. We'll get reaction from both camps hopefully to this game. We'll also hear from Shamrock Rovers legend John Coady, who is part of the LOI TV commentary team. As well as all that, Keith Treacy will tell us about Bohemians and UCD. As I speak to you, that game has yet to kick off, but if you're listening to this, you already know the score and you're tuning in for analysis. Graham Gartland was up at Derry City and Sligo Rovers. He'll send us a voice note from that, and we'll hear from Turner's Cross, where Neil Horgan watched his old side Cork City lose 2-0 to Shelbourne. Johnathan Higgins watched the battle for promotion in the First Division. Granted, it is very early in the season, but he'll tell us the story of how Galway United went to Cobh Ramblers and got a 2-0 victory. This is the ExtraTime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast.
And that was the sound at full time. What did Stephen Bradley have to say? He was chatting with Con Murphy of LOI TV.
Yeah, we're frustrated in the dressing room. I think our performance deserved more, but right now they're the small margins that are going against us, and we have to accept it and move on.
When you made those substitutions in the second half at 2-1, was there a sense of, what we have, we hold?
We just need to be careful. There's 1 or 2 that haven't tried much, and I felt the game was becoming too open. So Sean's played in there a number of times for us in Europe, and he's very comfortable in there. So I was more thinking of making sure we had more balance in the game rather than letting it be end to end. We're playing really well. Right now, it's just gone against us, and that happens. That's football, that's life. You just got to keep going. And I've no doubt, we said to them in the dressing room, if we keep performing like that, it'll turn for us, and I've no doubt it will.
This is the ExtraTime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast, and that was Shamrock Rovers head coach Stephen Bradley speaking to Con Murphy of LOI TV following their 2-2 draw with St. Pat's at Tallaght Stadium, a game that they could have won. They certainly had the chances. Dean Linus denied them with some fantastic save. 2 really standout ones when the game was locked at 2-2, kind of on the cusp of and during injury time. I have to say I didn't know too much about him. He made his debut for the Saints in that game. He's 31. His previous clubs include Airdrieonian, St Mirren, Raith Rovers and Nuneaton, Blackpool, Burton Albion, Kidderminster. He was with Hearts for a while. He was also on the books of Birmingham. There's an interview with him on the St. Pat's social media channels. There's also some great footage there of the Jake Mulroney equaliser. Lots of other interviews from the other games, by the way, with managers, and there's goal clips as well on the League of Ireland social media channels. I'm sure by this stage you know where to look. Right, let's continue our analysis of the game in Tallaght Stadium. A 2-2 draw between Shamrock Rovers and St. Pat's. John Coady is a 4-in-a-row legend with Shamrock Rovers. He was alongside Con Murphy of LOI TV on commentary. After the game, I caught up with John and first just asked him what his thoughts on the match were.
Another fantastic game from a neutral's point of view. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant goals and a late goal to match. Jack Byrne's strike was exceptional, and then Jake Mulroney, I think his name, Mulroney, excuse me, smashes one in from 25 yards as well. So yeah, for the neutral it was brilliant. Not so good, I don't think, for Stephen Bradley, who'll be looking and questioning his defence, saying, like, seriously, what's going on? I think that's their third almost injury time concession of an equaliser. So yeah, it was a brilliant game. Again, a brilliant game. That's all I have to say, really. Yeah.
Is this 2 points dropped for Shamrock Rovers? Will Stephen Bradley be fuming with his team?
Absolutely. Well, if he's not, I would be if I was Stephen Bradley. I'd be absolutely furious. Although I did find his substitutions somewhat questionable. Not questionable, but just unusual to say the least.
What was unusual? What didn't you like?
Gaffney and Kenny came on with no real striker to play up front. I know they could have been. I don't know if both of them were injured, and then we ended up with Richie Towell and Neil Ferrugia playing as the forward players for Rovers, and that's like they're not. That's a specialist role, is leading the attack. That's why they get the big bucks, is because they get the goals. And I don't think either of those lads, like, no disrespect to either of them, that's their particular forte.
For St. Pat's, this is a good point. Did they deserve it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because they got it. That's why they deserved it. Yeah, your man Mulroney came on and ran Rovers ragged a bit on the right hand side. And I think that was one of the substitutions. They brought on Sean Gannon to try and curtail that threat down the left hand side. The Pats were throwing at Rovers, and then he pulls one out of the bag. Just an unstoppable shot from 25 yards. And in the end, you'd have to say probably yes, they did deserve there, because they kept going. He made positive substitutions. Tim Clancy, he wasn't afraid to throw his youngsters on and throw them on up front, and it paid off for him.
Are St. Pat's missing maybe a little bit of energy around the middle? And Barry Cotter as well out wide, maybe he's missing for them as well this season. Adwan Riley went to Derry City.
Yeah.
Is he still a loss for St. Pat's from what you can see?
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. Even I thought that 10 minutes into the second half, I felt they were getting leggy, and I didn't think there was as much energy as there should have been, even at that early stage. It looked like they were giving Rovers the room, and that's why Jack Bourne came into the game, is because Tillermans, I think who was obviously ordered to chase him around, just didn't have the legs anymore, and Jack got the room, and you can't give a player of his calibre the space or the room, because he's going to hurt you, and he did with a magnificent 30-yard strike.
It's 6 games into the season now. Well, 6 league games into the season now, and Shamrock Rovers still haven't won. Stephen Bradley, after games, and I can understand this because I've seen some of the games, has said, I'm not worried, look, it'll click, it'll happen. Tonight, you can say that again, but ultimately it is 6 games for Shamrock Rovers without a win. Is it getting to the point now where you're getting a bit tetchy, a bit nervy? Like, how should Rovers fans be feeling about it?
Yeah, it's hard to know, because I came out of here after the Cork 4-all, and I said, oh look, it's only a matter of time before they're going to absolutely kill somebody shortly and just run riot. But that hasn't happened again tonight, and the opportunity was there for certain at 2-1. You see, the thing I don't understand is they seem to just draw back and say, okay, we've a 2-1, we're happy, we won't concede another goal, instead of going for the jugular. Like when the Pats got back to 2-all of a sudden panic stations and they're throwing men forward. But why can't we do that at 2-1? I just don't understand. There's a certain kind of thought process. Well, obviously I'm not au fait with, but I would be concerned as a Rovers supporter. Yes, of course I would. 6 games in and no win.
Can I ask you a question that it doesn't relate to tonight, but it does relate to Shamrock Rovers at large at the moment, this modern team? Do you get into the business of comparisons between your great 4-in-a-row team and this team, which has also done great things as well, and at the very least will contend for a 4-in-a-row, it looks like? Although, well, not on current form, but I presume it will come right at some point.
Yeah, you would hope it would come right at some stage. No, I don't get into the, like, different generations have throw up different things. We were lucky enough to have a fantastic team, and we won 4 league titles and 3 cups. It was brilliant of its time, yet we never did anything in Europe. Stephen had won the league last year and also got to the group stages of the Conference League, which, so if you balance it up, they're probably better because a European standard is supposed to be higher. And to get to the group stages of any of the European competitions is a feat in itself. No, I don't get into comparisons. I just come to the games and enjoy them. Do
you wonder if your 4-in-a-row team had the access to the sports science and the full-time training, all these guys, what they have? Do you wonder about that, what you could have done? Because, and I think you're being harsh on yourself, by the way, on Europe, because like they've done great things there, but it's easier to progress the way the season is structured. They're a full-time club now, whereas you weren't, I don't think. And also, you probably get teams that are easier to beat than you might have got. And maybe I'm giving you an excuse there, but anyway.
Look, this is the joy of coming to Rovers. This is because they have that full-time setup, and because they have all the backroom staff that's involved with the dietary and the physical process. Something we didn't have, which is right. But I still refuse to compare. If they're chasing it 4 in a row, it's a really, really difficult thing to do. Even back in our day, it was really tough. So it's equally as tough, and they have done themselves no favours with the poor enough start.
And just before I let you go, I've no basis of comparison because sadly Miltown was long gone by the time I started watching games. How does this place, atmosphere-wise and game night-wise, compare to Miltown? Yeah,
it's certainly up there. There's no doubt about it. Like when the new stand comes on board as well, I think it's July they're forecasting. Yeah, it's going to be an absolute cauldron in here. Well, you hear the atmosphere today, like from I was here an hour before the kick-off, and about half an hour before kick-off, the atmosphere was building, and you could almost feel the tension in the air. It was absolutely fantastic. The pitch is equally as good as Miltown ever was, so they've no excuses. They have it well. And I'm sure the opposition love coming here as well, which is always going to be against Rovers, because everybody lifts their game, everybody wants to beat Rovers, and everybody wants to play in this magnificent stadium and on this pitch.
It's a pity Miltown was lost, but it's great to have this, isn't it?
No, we've come a long way since playing away games in Inchicore and Dalymount and the likes, and Santry Stadium. So look, this is home now, so long may it last.
And are you enjoying the experience of being a Rovers fan? And isn't it great that there's so many of that team who still follow the club and you still see them around? Yeah,
well, a lot of them were brought up around that area. I'm a lifelong Rover supporter. I followed Rovers since I was about 6 years of age, so it was just a natural thing for me to do when I came back from England, when I finished playing, and it seemed like the most natural thing in the world to do was just to come and support your local team again, and I haven't regretted a minute. I've enjoyed every single moment. It's been brilliant. Even the bad years, it's just fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, John Coady, formerly of Shamrock Rovers, and of course Derry and Chelsea and Dundalk as well. Thanks for joining us on the ExtraTime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast. Unfortunately, I couldn't organise the best result from a Rovers point of view for you, but we did get a good game, didn't we?
Oh, we got another absolute. This is the third home game this year, and the three of them have been entertainment out your ears.
Cheers, John.
Oisin, thanks.
And what a joy it was to speak to the legend that is John Coady. Right, let's go up the road to the Ryan McBride Brandywell. Derry City unbeaten so far this season, up against the Sligo Rovers team who had lost just once in 5. Graham Gartland was part of RTE TV's coverage. You can watch it back now on the RTE player. After the game, while on the pitch, he sent us this voice note.
Hey Oisin, yeah, Derry got away with one. They probably didn't do enough in an attacking sense going forward. Didn't create enough chances. I think they only had 2 shots on target the whole game. Now in fairness, they were probably harshly done by. They had a great chance to go 1-0 up. The ref blew her up too early, just as McGonigal was sticking her in the bottom corner. So they probably felt a little bit hard done by with that. Then Sligo take the league with a really well worked goal. Hutchinson with a fantastic cross in, and Max Matta scores a brilliant header at the back. Well, it's an easy header at the back post really. Derry probably huffed and puffed. They had a lot of possession in front of Sligo, but didn't probably penetrate enough, didn't get enough runners from midfield. Everybody wanted to come towards the ball. Rory Higgins then made a couple of changes and brought on Brandon Kavanagh, brought on Jordan McAniff, and he sacrificed Will Patching. And once they done that, they seemed to get a lot more penetration just with their runs, people willing to run forward. Still probably lacked cutting edge and a lack of movement in the box, but eventually they broke them down with a corner, an out-swinging corner from the left-hand side, and Call rises highest and scores the goal. So they had a little bit of pressure at the end, but it was no clear-cut chances really, and it's actually Sligo that had probably the best chance. I think it was Fishstuck has a 1v1 at the end as Shane McElhenney pulls up. Probably doesn't realise he has that much time, and then snatches at it, pulls it, and then to compound, I think John Russell takes him off straight away. So yeah, a lot of expectation on Derry, considering obviously people looking at Shamrock Rovers dropping points at home, but it's a different animal when you're expected to win games and the pressure comes on you. So be interested. Yeah, I don't think the pitch helps them at the Brandywell. Their away record is a lot better than their home record is. I think the break's coming at the right time for them, because I think Riley, Donegan, Duffy and stuff will be back afterwards, but 1-1 draw is a fair result.
This is the ExtraTime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast, and that was Graham Gartland, who was at the Ryan McBride Brandywell for Derry City's 1-1 draw with Sligo Rovers. Graham was part of the RTE commentary team for that game. You can watch it back on the RTE player. Great to see that Ryan McBride was remembered tonight, a man who was taken from us far, far too soon. Bohemians had a 2-1 victory against UCD at Dalymount Park, a UCD team who have only collected 1 point so far this season. Keith Treacy was watching that one for us, and afterwards sent us this voice note.
Yeah, really good game here, Rushing. The opening 10 minutes, Bohs against UCD, not really an awful lot in it. In the final third, Cute and Horton for Bohs started to cause an awful lot of trouble. And then in the 12th minute, UCD got exactly what he wanted, a brilliant start. Wells, he's in an awful lot of trouble on his halfway line. He decides he's just going to chip one over the top of the Bohs defence, and all of a sudden Bishop is in behind. It's an excellent finish in off the post. Nowak, the Bohs centre half, just runs alongside him. Never really does enough, but Bohs get an excellent start to the game. And you know, they would have I hope they could see it over the line. Afolabi was brilliant up front. He scored a goal, which was later disallowed. The referee had said it had gone beyond the byline. I'm not too sure. I've seen a couple of replays, and it's very, very hard to be sure if it's gone out or not. So Bohs are very aggrieved by that. Yakatunde wins the penalty as well. It's more the goalkeeper comes flying out off his line, just bundles into the back of Yakatunde. The referee gives a penalty, and in the 45th minute of the first half, you're thinking Ali Coote will put this into the back of the net and Bohs will come out and dominate the second half. Ali Coote blazed over, and it left a real sour taste in the Bohs' mouth at half time. And you're thinking, what sort of response are you going to get from Bohs in the second half? It was an excellent response. The second half, they were much, much better. The Bohs I seen against Pats last week, they were more like Paddy Kirk, got them underway, comes in off the left wing, plays a little 1-2. It's brilliant. He gets it on his weaker right foot, just uses the UCD defender as a shield, plays the ball around and finds the top corner with his right foot. Excellent goal from Paddy Kirk, and literally 60 seconds later, a minute later, Ali Coote makes a third man run. Again, it's Kirk, puts the ball into Afolabi's feet. Afolabi holds it up. There's Ali Coote coming in around the front of him, picks up the ball, drives into the box, and he finds a super finish into the corner. It was a really good second half by Bohs. Played much, much better football. And one thing I would just want to note, Jordan Flores was injured in the warm-up for Bohs, and young James McManus come in and just turned 18 yesterday, and believe me, I was really, really excited to watch this boy play. The way he dictates the tempo of the play, he really is excellent, and as I say, coming in at short notice is not an easy thing to do, so mentally a very strong boy as well, and that moves Bohs 10 points clear to Shamrock Rovers. Great weekend for the Bohs fans.
Well, Keith Treacy knows exactly the kind of stats and information that the Bohemians fans want to hear. That's his report and voice note on Bohemians' 2-1 win against UCD. He mentioned the table there. We'll give you the full detail in a while. Right, let's go to Turner's Cross, because I'm being made to. Apparently I'm not allowed to ignore Cork City's loss. They hadn't been beaten in 3 going into this. Shelbourne yet to win on the road this season. Former Cork City fullback Neil Horgan was there and afterwards sent us this voice note.
Shelbourne with a well-deserved win in Turner's Cross, winning by 2-0 against Cork City, an underperforming Cork City, must be said, who look somewhat disjointed at times. Shelbourne started the better, playing into the St. Anne's end in the first half, and had City on the ropes early on, before a somewhat fortuitous goal with Josh Honohan deflecting a header into his own net, unfortunately, after a lovely ball into the box. Had Shells in the lead after only 10 minutes. After that, City flustered but didn't really threaten. Shells, who were well organised and showed their greater experience of the Premier Division, in my opinion, throughout the night. Goalkeeper Conor Kearns was a great influence in the match with his long kickouts and his overall goalkeeping presence. Midfielders Brian McManus and Evan Caffrey were excellent for Shells throughout the match, and Cork City fans will be very disappointed. The second goal, when it came, was a good one from Shells in the second half. They opened up the Cork City team with a lovely play into Cork City's shed end, and a lovely finish from Jack Moylan was no more than Shells deserved. The most, I suppose, contentious incident in the match happened soon after. Rory Keaton seemed to be lining up for a great opportunity for City to get back into the game. He was inside the box lining up for a shot, and he seemed to be fouled by centre half for Shelbourne, but the referee played on, and Cork City will certainly be thinking that their luck isn't in at the moment with the penalty that was awarded against them in the last minute against Sligo last week, and this week not getting that penalty decision seems somewhat unfair in my eyes, at least. However, Shelbourne were full value for the win. City threatened late on, chances for Keating and a few others for various players. They came to nothing really in the end. Shells showed their little bit more class on the night. City's manager Colin Healy will be most disappointed with the performance, even more so than the result, in my opinion. They perhaps missed the creative influence of Aaron Bolger in a game where they were behind early, and Shells seemed to tighten up at the back and allow them to play around. City tried to play direct through Keating. They didn't come to anything. Flick-ons, try as he might, didn't work out for City, who seem to be a better away team than a home team at the moment. All in all, deserved win for Shelbourne, 2-0, at Turner's Cross in front of 5,000 Cork City fans.
This is the ExtraTime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast, and that is former Cork City fullback Neil Horgan, who watched Cork City's 2-0 defeat to Shelbourne. In the First Division, there were 3 games last night. Athlone Town drawing 2-2 with Treacy United, Wexford getting a 2-1 win over Kerry FC, and Cobh Ramblers, who made a great start to the season, up until last night maybe, losing 2-0 to Galway United at St Coleman's Park. Johnathan Higgins was on commentary for that game on Galway Bay FM, and afterwards sent us this voice note.
Galway fans have had a nice St Patrick's Day. It's been a long trip down to Cobh, a long trip back also, but that trip will be a lot shorter after another victory for John Caulfield's side, 2-0 in the end. Well deserved. Scrappy game. Pitch in poor nick, call a spade, and it made the game very, very difficult. It was a scrappy nature, ball bouncing around all over the place. It was a tough watch, let's be honest. But United, as they've done all season to date, they found a way to win. Good old Vincent Borgen. He's 4th of the season. A nice little free kick. A little bit of clever play from McCormick. Teed him up. And then the second one came actually just when Cobh were getting into the game, and maybe it was getting a little bit concerning, but Manning then got the second. And Galway fans, maybe it's too early to say, starting to believe, but it's been an awesome start to the season. It equals a league best league start to the campaign. You have to go all the way back to 85-86. First 5 victories in a row. That was in the Premier Division. Everyone's hoping Galway United will be back in the Premier Division, but a long way to go. But so far so good, and another clean sheet and another little trip up the road is all the sweeter with a 3 points. So a little bit of tough on Cobh, you have to say, but they will have better days again. They still played a decent bit of football at times, but United just a little bit too streetwise, and the experience is starting to show. Only a little bit of concern. Injury to Regan Donlan early in the first half. Kind of took a bad fall in the kind of that slope on the pitch. Looks like he might have rattled his knee, so he was taken off. So we'll have to see how things goes. United will definitely need him over the course of the season and his deliveries, but so far. And the good run continues, and we're all very happy in Galway.
Galway Bay FM's Johnathan Higgins rounding things up for us from Cobh, where Ramblers lost 2-0 to Galway United. There's 2 games, well, you're most likely listening to this on the 18th, so there's 2 games today in the First Division. Waterford FC hosting Bray Wanderers, and Longford Town taking on Finn Harps. How does the table look in the First Division? Well, it looks like this. Galway are on top on 15 points. Second are Cobh Ramblers on 10 points. Bray and Waterford, who each have a game in hand, are 3rd and 4th on 8 and 7 points respectively. Athlone 5th on 7, Wexford 6th on 7, Longford 7th on 3, Finn Harps 8th on 2, Treacy 2nd from bottom on 2, and Kerry with 1 point. There's also a full programme of fixtures in the Women's Premier Division today. At 2 o'clock, Galway United take on Bohs, Shelbourne up against Shamrock Rovers. That should be an interesting tie. That's actually live on TG Cahir. DLR Waves meet Cork City, Treaty United take on Athlone, and Sligo Rovers meet Peamount. The rest of the games, as in everything that isn't Shelbourne and Shamrock Rovers, are live on LOI TV. Let's just round up the Premier Division. From St Patrick's night, Cork City 0, Shelbourne 2, Shamrock Rovers 2, St Pat's 2, Bohs 2, UCD 1, and Derry City 1, Sligo Rovers 1. On Thursday night, Dundalk overcame Drogheda 1-0 at Weavers Park. We did a special podcast from that game. Afterwards, we spoke to Dundalk's Conor Malley, his head coach Stephen O'Donnell, and Drogheda manager Kevin Doherty. Kevin was particularly interesting on the, I'm going to say link that they have with Lincoln. It's an unofficial link, but it's interesting to hear him on that and many other things. Paul Crowley, formerly of Drogheda and Dundalk, he also played for Shamrock Rovers and St Pat's as well, give us his analysis on that game, but also on how the 2 teams have performed up to this point in the season. So if you want to go back and listen to that, you can. Also this week, there was an Irish language podcast with Aoife Mullen, Donal Ryan and Tom O'Connor, and that was to celebrate Seachtain na Gaeilge. They spoke to Robbie Benson. So that's an interesting chat, Oscuilga, with Robbie Benson. Ahead of the women's fixtures, the Women's National League fixtures, there's also a full preview on the League of Ireland podcast, which was released on Thursday. Donal Ryan was in for Luke this week, and they spoke to Megan Smith-Lynch, among others. Did I give you the Premier Division table? I don't think I did, so I'll run through it. For Bohs fans, this is particularly delightful. Bohs on top on 15 points, Derry second on 12 points, Dundalk third on 11, Sligo Rovers fourth on 9, Shelbourne fifth on 8, Drogheda sixth on 8, Cork City seventh on 5th. Cork City fans disappointed with the loss, but they would take 7th place, I think, because staying up this year would be an achievement. But Colin Healy, the manager, has his eyes a little further up the table. Shamrock Rovers are in 8th position on 5 points, 5 draws and a loss so far for them. St Pat's second from bottom on 5, but they stopped the rot with that draw away to Rovers on St Patrick's Day. They'd lost their previous 3 on the run into that. UCD bottom of the table on 1 point. It's a struggle so far for them. They've lost 5 from 6. They did get a good draw with Dundalk, but since that they've struggled to get any results. Right, that's it from the extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcasts. As always, you can get in contact with me via Twitter at Oisin Langan. Don't forget, you can read the match reports from all of last night's games and after today's games. If you're listening on the 18th, you'll be able to get all the match reports there on extratime.com. Donal and Luke will be along later in the week with the extratime.com League of Ireland podcast, in which they'll take a deep dive into the Premier Division, the First Division and the Women's National League. That's it from me. Enjoy the rest of your St. Patrick's weekend.